Hey everyone, this is Ryder from Skip. I hope you're doing well. It's July 1st, and I have a brief update on funding, specifically the PPP loans, and some changes there. Some good news, by the way. So I have two pieces of good news and one piece of overall bad news, and I'm going to sandwich that. So first, I'm going to talk about what the Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said yesterday, that he suggested that the 130 billion, that's what's left in the PPP funds, 130 billion be reallocated to the hardest hit industries. And that's very interesting because that's basically money that's been earmarked to be spent. We all thought that 130 billion would be fully spent. I mean, it was almost half a trillion, the total pot for the second round in PPP, and we expected that all these PPP funds would be exhausted. Turns out it's not. So he's proposing that we rethink who needs this money, and this is so important because we did a survey of the thousands of businesses that we are helping, and half of them said they are in survival mode. Half of the small businesses that we've been helping apply for grants and loans and track EIDL, PPP, said that they're just trying to get by and they're in survival mode. And if part of this reallocation could go to some of these businesses or even a second PPP, people have asked me about that and us about that. Can we apply for another PPP for a longer period of time? So that's the good news, that these discussions are being made, and Steve Mnuchin is supportive of using this 130 billion. That's a lot of money. I mean, you can do the math in terms of how to reallocate those, especially for the service industry and the travel industries that have been the hardest hit. Okay, but what I want to point out before I get into the other piece of news that passed last night in the Senate is this caseload. Apologies, some of the U.S. map is cut off, but you get the idea, you know the trend, and this is just disturbing. We're setting records, daily records for infections, and the South is just being battered from Texas to Florida to South Carolina with rising caseloads. Again, the red and the orange are the rising caseloads, and all you have to do is look at where the new cases are increasing in 39 states. I mean, look at some of these charts. Arizona, these are basically straight lines. And I'm sure most of you are looking at these on a daily basis. And of course, we do daily emails, by the way, at Skip. If you haven't signed up for one, I'll leave a link in the description as well. We send out daily emails with updates because I think a lot of people might not be aware of just what's happening in their state and these upticks that are happening by and large across the entire country, even in states that we thought were safe, like Idaho, in the last 5 days has seen this spike. So, needless to say, and I'm going to show you the overall trend here in the U.S. Again, these are all record-setting days here. The last 5 days, I think, we're averaging 40,000 cases, and Dr. Fauci said yesterday that he could conceive that we get to 100,000 cases per day, which is insane. But, I mean, that's the way it's looking, especially as all of us think about the summer months and the July 4th weekend. So this is just the urge for all of us to not forget to remain vigilant and wear masks, social distance, because I think a lot of people have lapsed, and even if you lapse for a little bit, it doesn't take much to kind of spread or get infected, even if you lapse for a little bit. So just to be aware, because I think it's easy to forget that July 4th is coming, and you can pretend that this is the 2019 July 4th, but it's actually no, this is the new normal we're in. So I just wanted to point that out. That's the disappointing news, and frankly, if states continue to reverse, there's probably going to be the second stimulus because it's going to be needed. But I will just say the good news, okay, the PPP might be reallocated, but regardless, for people who haven't applied for PPP, there is a PPP extension. Okay, so here it is. The Senate passes a surprise extension last night of 5 weeks So basically, it still has to pass the House and get signed by the president, but all senators had to vote yes on this, and they did last night. Basically, that would extend the PPP to August 8th. So, again, if you still know businesses, small businesses that haven't gotten money yet, there's still money available. And so, again, that's there for you. I'm going to leave a link in the description on how to apply, some good partners. A lot of banks didn't do a good job in the early days, so I'm going to leave a link to that. But that's the second piece of good news. Again, even if this doesn't get reallocated, which we hope it does, because I think that may mean that businesses that are still struggling may get a chance to apply again for something. But even if that doesn't happen, PPP money's still there. And bottom line, we need to get this virus under control. So please stay well, stay healthy, and thanks again for your support and subscribing. It means so much to us. Take care.